Comparison is the silent thief of peace. It does not shout, it whispers, always in someone else's voice. Look at them. Look at what they have. Look at what you lack. And so begins the lie. A life not measured by truth, but by shadows, by mirrors that distort, by scales that were never yours to weigh against. You wake up, and before you breathe, you compare. Before you rise, you scroll. Before you speak, you judge. And before you live, you shrink. The mind once clear, now fogged by fantasies not its own. You are no longer present in your life. You are performing. You are chasing. And what you chase, you place above you. You become smaller with every pursuit that isn't truly yours. Mastery isn't won in moments of ease. It's forged in solitude, in struggle, in silence. When the noise fades, what remains? The one who has chosen to face himself. You will not master life until you master yourself. And you will not master yourself until you learn to sit with the chaos inside. Most people run. They run from stillness, from discomfort, from the mirror of their own thoughts. But the wise man pauses. He listens. He watches. He endures the storm within until it clears, and what is left is power. Comparison is noise, and the soul cannot speak through noise. Only silence reveals what is real. Only stillness shows what is truly yours. The one who chases others loses himself. The one who sits with himself finds everything. Stop asking if you are ahead. Ahead of who? According to what? You were never meant to run their race. You were born to walk your path, slowly, silently, sacredly. You do not owe the world your speed. You owe yourself your soul. Look again. Not at them, at you. Not at what they have, but what you've forgotten. You had wonder once, joy without reason, laughter without comparison. Return to that, not to innocence, but to truth. Comparison breeds envy. Envy breeds discontent. Discontent blinds you, and the blind man reaches, grasps, stumbles, never arriving. But the clear-sighted man, he sees all paths, but walks only his. He celebrates others without shrinking. He honors his timing without shame. And when he rises, it is not in competition, but in completeness. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply not them, and that is your power. When the world says compare, go deeper. When the ego says chase, be still. And when fear says you are not enough, answer with truth. I am not them, because I was never meant to be. You were not created to imitate. You were created to illuminate. Let them run. Let them perform. Let them post. You return to your breath, to your values, to your walk. This is not slowness. This is sovereignty. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. The world wants spectacle. Your soul wants substance. Choose the quieter hunger. Choose the unseen victory. Your peace is not in their failure. Your joy is not in their envy. Your success is not in their gaze. Let go of the need to be watched. Let go of the need to be measured. Let go of the need to be more than them and become all of you. There will always be someone richer, stronger, prettier, faster, but there will never be another you. Not in this time, not in this breath. And that is sacred. Do not dishonor yourself with comparisons. Do not desecrate your path by imitating another. You are not a reflection. You are a flame. Burn as only you can. This is the end of comparison. This is the return to self. This is the beginning of peace. Comparison doesn't just steal joy, it steals time. Every moment spent watching others is a moment not lived for yourself. And slowly, almost invisibly, you begin to disappear from your own life. You speak their words, you chase their milestones, you worship their gods, but their gods were never meant to save you. Only the truth within you can. The man who compares lives in fragments, a little of her, a little of him, a little of them, and none of himself. Peace begins when comparison ends, but peace is not passive, it must be protected. Guard your mind like a garden. Do not let the weeds of envy grow in silence. You are not just different, you are designed, deliberate, distinct, divine. You were not put here to repeat, you were put here to reveal something the world has never seen before. Comparison tells you to look away. Presence tells you to return. Return to your hands, to your work, to your path. Do not ask if they are watching. Ask only, am I aligned? Because a life aligned is louder than applause, and a soul at peace makes more impact than a life performed. Let the world spin. Let the crowds cheer. Let others be louder, flashier, faster. You, stay rooted, stay real, stay whole. And when the dust settles, when the world forgets the noise it once worshipped, you will still be standing. Not because you beat them, but because you became you. There is a power in quiet evolution, in unseen growth, in becoming without broadcasting. Do not confuse silence with stagnation. A seed is silent before it splits the earth. A root deepens in darkness before it bears fruit in the light. You are not failing because no one sees you. You are preparing because you finally see yourself. Comparison interrupts the sacred process. It turns the inward into outward, the internal compass into an external scoreboard. But life is not a contest. It is a calling, and you must answer it without distraction, without noise, without need for approval. Your value is not in your visibility. It is in your authenticity. Every time you compare, you forget who you are. And every time you return, you remember why you were made. Return again and again and again, until presence is no longer a practice, but a way of being. Others will rush, let them. Others will shout, let them. Others will perform, let them. But you remain grounded, because the deepest roots grow slowest. Comparison is quicksand. It pretends to be ground, but pulls you deeper the more you struggle. You cannot rise by sinking into someone else's life. To rise, you must release. Release the timeline. Release the need to be seen. Release the myth of being behind. You are not late, you are layered, and every layer forms the foundation of who you are becoming. In a world of mirrors, be a window. Let others see through you, not at a performance, but into presence. You do not shine by dimming others. You shine by standing in your own light. Some will misunderstand you. Let them. Some will mock your pace. Let them. Some will question your silence. Let them. Your soul was not sent here to be loud. It was sent to be luminous, and the truest light needs no spotlight. Comparison says, be like them. Wisdom says, be with you. Be with your breath. Be with your stillness. Be with your becoming. The more you compare, the more you conform. The more you conform, the more you disappear. But when you choose to stand as yourself, not a version, not a shadow, you reappear. Not just to the world, but to your own heart. And that reappearance is resurrection. That return is redemption. That awareness is the beginning of wisdom. You were not lost. You were layered beneath the noise. Now you peel it back, one breath at a time. Comparison is the voice of fear, and fear always speaks first and loudest. But beyond fear is love, and love speaks soft and true. Do not trade your love for another's life. Do not trade your soul for someone else's shell. You have nothing to prove, only something to embody. Return again to your peace. Return again to your path. Comparison ends where compassion begins, and compassion, like you, was never meant to compete. They say others have it better, but who is they, and what is better? A filtered moment, a curated smile, a trophy with no truth beneath it. You see the success, but you do not see the silence behind their smile. Comparison begins where curiosity dies. You stop asking what's real and start assuming what's missing. And so you trade your reality for their illusion. They look happy, but do they feel free? They look wealthy, but are they whole? They look perfect, but do they sleep in peace? A better life isn't louder, it's quieter. Not more things, but more meaning. Not more applause, but more alignment. The illusion of the better life is built on performance. It demands sacrifice, not of ego, but of essence. You trade authenticity for attention, and attention never fills you. It only feeds the mask. You do not envy their life. You envy your own life unlived. Because the truth is, you know what you desire. You just haven't been still enough to hear it. They told you to hustle. They told you to rise and grind. But they never told you to sit and feel, to pause and question, to ask, what am I actually chasing? The illusion is built on silence, not the peaceful kind, but the suppressed kind, where truth is buried beneath trends. And being yourself feels dangerous. But the better life is not over there. It is not on their page, their platform, their stage. It is in this moment, in this breath, in this truth you refuse to abandon. You've tried to run, you've tried to catch up, You've tried to become better, but better for who? For what standard? You are not a brand, you are not a product, you are a presence, you are a force. And the better life is the one that begins when you stop trying to be someone else. You are not late to your life, you are just early to your awakening. They told you success was status, but status without soul is a sentence, not a reward. A better life is not found in more, it is uncovered in less. Less pretending, less proving, less performing, and more presence, more peace, more purpose. You've been tricked into chasing everything except yourself. Your worth has been sold to you in pieces, each piece branded, boxed, and broadcast. But you were whole before the world told you you weren't. You've been made to believe happiness lives elsewhere, that it's on the other side of achievement. But happiness is not the prize of becoming someone else. It is the fruit of fully being yourself. The illusion thrives on urgency, on deadlines that aren't yours, on timelines that betray your rhythm, and so you rush. You rush not because you're ready, but because you're afraid. Afraid of missing out, afraid of being behind, afraid of not mattering in a world that screams for attention, but the soul whispers, it never screams, and it waits patiently for your return. You've traded depth for speed, but nothing sacred is rushed. The tree does not force its roots. The ocean does not beg to be noticed. You do not need more eyes on you. You need more truth in you. The illusion thrives where intention dies. When you forget why you started, you forget who you are. You must reclaim your direction, not by doing more, but by doing what is real. Sometimes the most powerful life is the simplest one, not because it lacks greatness, but because it no longer chases it. This is the lie, that worth must be earned. This is the truth, that worth must be remembered. And remembering begins in stillness. It begins when you close the screen, when you silence the noise, when you ask, what life would I live if I wasn't trying to impress anyone? The illusion fades in the presence of that question, because no one can give you freedom, it must be chosen. And no one can choose for you, it must be lived. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply buried beneath layers of life that were never truly yours. Peel them away, one expectation at a time, one comparison at a time, one illusion at a time, until all that remains is what always was, you. You are not here to climb a ladder that leads nowhere. You are here to root yourself where your soul feels alive. The better life was never out there. It has always been waiting in here. In your honesty, in your courage, in your stillness, in your return. There is no prize for becoming someone else. There is only a cost, and that cost is you. Every time you try to wear a mask that isn't yours, you suffocate a little more. Not instantly, but slowly, quietly, without noticing, until one day you forget your own face. This is the world's game, to make you forget. Forget your rhythm, forget your joy, forget your direction. So you spend your life remembering others and never returning to yourself. But your soul cannot be fooled. It keeps aching until you listen. It keeps breaking until you return. The better life is not perfect. It is peaceful, not without problems, but without pretending. It doesn't need to be broadcast. It just needs to be lived. There is no applause loud enough to fill the silence of a disconnected soul. No spotlight warm enough to thaw the cold of a life unlived. You can win the world and still lose yourself. The illusion of the better life is addictive. It feeds you just enough dopamine to keep you running, but never enough meaning to make you whole. And so the cycle continues. Compare, chase, collapse, repeat. But you can exit the loop, not by outrunning the illusion, but by turning around, by facing it, by saying no more measuring joy in likes, no more tying worth to noise, no more pretending that a bigger house means a fuller heart. You are not their story, you are your soul's unfolding. And the soul unfolds best in truth, not in trends. Strip away what was sold to you. Strip away the hustle that hollowed you. Return to the real, return to the raw, return to the root. They said you need more, but what you need is less of what's false and more of what's true. You will never feel full living someone else's dream. The better life begins when you let the old one fall apart. the one built on shoulds, the one powered by performance, the one lived for validation instead of vision. Collapse is not failure, it's a clearing, it's a rebirth. Your breakdown is not your end, it's your body refusing to live a lie any longer. You were not made to survive in the illusion, you were made to thrive in the truth. And that truth is simple, you are already enough. Not after the next milestone, not after the next level up. Now, here, as you are. There is no version of the future that is more worthy of love than you in this moment. So stop chasing a life that isn't yours, and start living the one that is. It will be quieter, it will be slower, it will be less impressive to the world, but it will be whole, and it will be yours, and that is the better life. You were not born to match, you were born to blaze, to burn in your own flame, to walk your own edge, but somewhere along the way, you were taught to shrink, to fit, to mold, to mimic, and slowly, the wildness in you went quiet. The originality in you was caged. The voice in you was trained to echo, not express. You were never meant to be like them. You were meant to remind them of who they are. You were born a question, not an answer. You were born a signal, not an echo. A presence, not a projection. The world rewards sameness, but your soul aches in imitation. Because deep down you know, no amount of acceptance can replace authenticity. You can win the crowd and still lose yourself. You can play the part and miss the point. You can blend in and never belong. Because true belonging starts when you stop bending, when you start becoming. Not like them, not like anyone, but like you, raw, real, rare. You were not made to repeat, you were made to rupture, to disrupt what's numb, to awaken what's true, to live as proof that difference is divine. They will call you too much, too intense, too honest, too still. Let them. You were not sent here to entertain comfort. You were sent here to echo truth, and truth, real truth, is always unsettling before it's freeing. So unsettle them, not for ego, but for elevation. Because some people are asleep in their own lives, and when they see you walk as yourself, without apology, they remember their own fire. This is not rebellion. This is remembrance, not performance, presence. And presence is magnetic, not because it shouts, but because it doesn't need to. The most powerful person in the room is the one most fully themselves. You were not born to impress, you were born to impact. But you cannot impact while pretending. You cannot lead while imitating. You cannot love yourself while being someone else. Let this be the day you return, to your rhythm, to your way, to your voice. Not curated, not filtered, not rehearsed, just real, just here, just you. You were never meant to be like them. You were always meant to be free. You weren't born to follow paths. You were born to carve them. And the blade that carves is your truth. The edge is your voice. The trail is your presence. You were not sent here to be accepted. You were sent to be seen. And not everyone who sees you will understand. That's okay. The tree does not explain its roots. The river does not justify its flow. It just is. Be like that. Quiet, whole, unapologetic. You do not owe the world your conformity. You owe it your clarity. What they call strange, spirit calls sacred. What they call weird, truth calls holy. Because only what's different has the power to awaken, and only what's real can actually heal. So stop asking for permission to be real. Stop editing your edges to make others comfortable. You are not the background character. You are the flame at the center of your own fire. The world does not need more sameness. It needs more souls on fire with their own light. You were made to embody what can't be copied. Your laugh, your wounds, your wonder, your weirdness, all of it needed. All of it sacred. So don't dilute it to make it easier to swallow. Don't shrink it just to be liked. Because being liked is not the same as being loved. And being understood is not the same as being whole. You don't need their approval to be free. You only need your return. Return to the way you used to move. Before they told you what was wrong with you. Before they taught you to compare. Before they trained you to betray your own joy. What if the parts of you they call strange are the very parts sent to break them open? What if your softness is someone's permission to feel? What if your depth is someone's invitation to heal? What if your difference is someone's awakening? You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, and not just in appearance, in soul, in stance, in strength. Let others be noise. You be resonance. Let others be spectacle. You be substance. This world doesn't need more filters. It needs more fire. It doesn't need more stars. It needs more suns, those who rise from within. You were not meant to echo trends. You were meant to start movements. Movements of the heart. Movements of the soul. Movements that leave the world more alive than you found it. But none of that happens if you keep pretending. You don't need to be like them to be beautiful. You don't need to be like them to be enough. You only need to be fully, fiercely you. Because when you walk as you are, not polished, not posed, the world softens. Not everyone will say thank you, but someone will remember how to breathe again. That is your gift. That is your power. That is your difference. You were never meant to be like them. You were born to awaken them. By simply being you. You don't need to compete with them. You need to complete yourself. The race was never yours to run. The stage was never yours to perform on. Because your life is not theater. It is truth, alive, breathing, holy. And truth doesn't need validation. It only needs embodiment. So breathe deeper, stand taller, speak slower, love louder. You don't have to be who they expect. You only have to be who you are when no one is watching. That is where your peace lives. That is where your power returns. This world will always try to shape you, but only you can decide what you become. Not in rebellion, but in remembrance. You are not here to conform. You are here to connect, to draw others, not to your image, but to their own soul. And you do that not by trying harder, but by being realer, more raw, more rooted, more awake. Let the world do what it does. You, return to what you are, and what you are is sacred. You do not need permission to be sacred. You do not need an audience to be powerful. The quietest person in the room may be the one carrying the most truth. The most ordinary face may hide the most extraordinary soul, because sacredness is never loud, it is presence. So let them look, let them judge, let them misunderstand. You, stay true, stay rooted, stay radiant. You were never meant to be like them, because the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, unfiltered, unshaken, undeniable. And the day you choose that version of you, the world changes, quietly at first, then all at once. You free others by freeing yourself. You heal others by honoring your pain. You light the path by walking it. So stop holding back what was never meant to be hidden. Your voice, your wounds, your weirdness, your wisdom. None of it is an accident. None of it is too much. You weren't made to fit in a box. You were made to open them, to take the lids off lives, to remind people of the sky, to break what's numb and bring what's alive. You are not here to look the part. You are here to live the truth, to walk with fire in your chest, to breathe with purpose in your lungs. And when they ask why you don't try to blend in, tell them this, because I finally remembered who I am. This is your return. This is your power. This is your chapter of truth. And in this chapter, you don't echo, you embody, you don't imitate, you initiate, because you were never meant to be like them. You were always meant to be like you. Self-worth is not given. It is remembered. Buried under shame, buried under noise, buried under the stories you believed were truth. It's not that you're not enough. It's that you've been taught to forget. Forget the power in your presence. Forget the wisdom in your wounds. Forget the light that lives beneath your fear. You weren't born comparing. You learned it. You weren't born apologizing for your existence. You were conditioned to believe you had to earn your place, but you never had to earn it. You are not here to prove your value. You are here to embody it. Most people confuse worth with performance. Be good, be useful, be better. Then you matter. Then you're worthy of love, of rest, of peace. But the soul does not keep score. It doesn't measure based on output. It recognizes you the moment you remember who you are. You do not have to climb to be worthy. You do not have to hustle to be seen. You only have to return. Return to your breath. Return to your truth. Return to the part of you that never needed to be fixed. That part still lives, still breathes, still waits, under the masks, beneath the shame, behind the roles you play to survive. You are not broken. You are buried. An excavation begins with self-compassion. You don't heal by fixing, you heal by feeling the ache of disconnection, feeling the lies you swallowed, feeling the longing to belong to yourself again. You are not a problem to solve, you are a presence to return to. You are not missing anything, you are missing nothing. But you've been told otherwise, every day, by ads, by systems, by silence. They profit from your doubt, they thrive when you forget. Because a person who forgets their worth can be controlled, but a person who remembers cannot. So remember, slowly, quietly, deeply. Remember the way you used to laugh without fear, the way you played without permission, the way you felt joy without a reason. That version of you was not wrong, it was real, and it still is. You don't build self-worth. You uncover it. You clear what clouds it. You question what quieted it. You walk back to what still lives within. Your worth is not a reward, it is a remembering, and remembering takes practice. Each time you speak your truth, each time you say no when your soul means it, each time you rest without guilt, each time you choose peace over performance. That is worth. That is you. You are not a role. You are a reality, not a brand, a being, and your being is enough, even when you are tired, even when you fall short, even when you feel lost, especially then. Because worth is not measured by success, it's measured by presence, by courage, by willingness to be real even when afraid. You don't have to feel worthy to be worthy. You only have to stop running from yourself. Sit down, breathe, stay, and in the staying, the remembering begins. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your parents' wounds. You are not your performance review. You are not your follower count. You are not your failures. You are not what they couldn't love. You are not what they projected. You are not what they misunderstood. You are the one who lived through it and still stands, still breathes, still longs for more. That longing, that's your worth, waking up. Not because you're broken, but because you're ready to return. And the return begins now. The return is not dramatic. It's not loud. It won't be trending. It begins in whispers, in moments you choose not to betray yourself. It begins in boundaries, in telling the truth even when your voice shakes. It begins when you look in the mirror and finally see, not flaws, but a face you are learning to forgive. The psychology of self-worth is not about confidence. It is about connection. Connection to the part of you that exists beneath performance. Connection to the self that was never broken, just buried. And that self is not something you build. It is something you remember. Your worth is not increased by applause, and it is not diminished by rejection. It remains, like the ocean, vast, quiet, deep, no matter the tide. You do not earn it by working harder. You do not earn it by being chosen. You do not earn it by being impressive. You claim it by being honest. You claim it by being gentle with yourself. That voice in your head, the one that says you're behind, unworthy, inadequate, is not your voice. It is the echo of a world that profits from your insecurity. It is the residue of shame passed down by people who never healed. Your job is not to obey it. Your job is to witness it and return anyway, to the body that longs to rest, to the heart that longs to trust, to the spirit that longs to lead. Self-worth is not a mindset, it's a memory, and remembering is an act of rebellion in a world that wants you to forget. You will forget again. That's okay, just don't stop returning. Return through journaling, return through stillness, return through movement, return through saying, I matter, even now. And when the inner critic returns, and it will, offer it compassion. It was just trying to keep you safe, but you are not here to be safe. You are here to be real. Self-worth is not built in mirrors, it's built in moments. Moments of truth, moments of choice, moments of grace. The next time you feel not enough, ask, whose voice is this? What would I believe if I had never been hurt? What would I say to a child who felt this way? Say it to yourself, again and again and again, until the truth is louder than the lie, until the memory is stronger than the mask. until you don't need to be reminded, because you simply remember you are already who you were searching for. Not when you are healed, not when you are loved. Now. This is the psychology of self-worth. Not to become someone else, but to come home to who you've always been. Come home. Again and again. Come home. Come home to the silence beneath your striving. Come home to the breath that never needed to be earned. Come home to the self that loved you before you ever proved a thing. Because you were loved before you were useful. You were worthy before you were impressive. You mattered before you ever mattered to them. They tried to measure you in metrics, but your soul does not fit inside spreadsheets. They tried to quantify your value, but value cannot be counted, only carried, and you've carried it since birth. That quiet brilliance, that hidden knowing. Self-worth doesn't look like arrogance. It looks like gentleness. It looks like stillness. It looks like being okay when you're alone. And when the world forgets you, you remember yourself. When they overlook you, you see you. When they dismiss you, you stand taller. Not because of ego, but because of essence. You are not the sum of your wins. You are not the weight of your wounds. You are not a resume. You are a revelation. And every time you treat yourself with dignity, you teach others how to do the same. Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other connection. When you abandon yourself, others do too. But when you stay, they learn to meet you there. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you are worthy of. So believe again, even if it's a whisper, even if it's fragile. Believe in your enoughness. Believe in your birthright to rest, to be, to belong. The psychology of self-worth is not about feeling better. It's about seeing clearer. Seeing that you were never broken. You were just carrying stories that weren't yours. So put them down. Put down the shame that isn't yours to hold. Put down the pressure to perform. Put down the armor of perfection. You don't need it here. Here you are safe to be real, to be seen, to be sacred. This world does not reward the most worthy. It rewards the most visible. But your soul does not play that game. It rewards the quiet yes you say to yourself each morning. It rewards the way you choose softness over self-judgment. It rewards the way you don't quit, even when no one claps. That is power. That is worth. It's not always loud, but it is always enough. So walk slower, speak truer, rest deeper, love freer, and do it not because you need to prove anything, but because you finally know you are always worth it. All along, there is a hush that falls upon the soul when it surrenders. Not defeat, but a gentle yielding. Acceptance is not resignation. It is not the giving up of hope. It is the giving up of war. You have fought yourself for so long, battled your thoughts, wrestled your feelings, tried to bend reality to your will. But life is not a battlefield. It is a garden, and acceptance is the rain that softens the soil. You do not grow by force. You grow by allowing. You do not heal by denial. You heal by meeting what is as it is. The mind shouts, change this, fix that, escape now. But the heart whispers, stay. Stay with what hurts. Stay with what's true. Acceptance is not the end of longing. It is the beginning of belonging. Belonging to yourself. Belonging to this moment. Most suffering is not from pain itself, but from resistance to pain. The refusal to feel, the refusal to see, the refusal to be with what is. You run from sadness. You deny your anger. You mask your fear. But what you resist persists, and what you accept transforms. The silent power of acceptance is not in changing the world. It is in changing your relationship to the world. You do not have to like what is. You only have to let it be. Acceptance is the doorway to peace. It is the invitation to rest, not to give up, but to give in to the flow of life. You were taught to fight, to strive, to conquer. But some things cannot be conquered. They can only be carried. And when you stop fighting what cannot be changed, you discover a deeper strength, the strength to endure, the strength to adapt, the strength to be soft in a hard world. Acceptance is not passivity, it is presence. It is the willingness to sit with discomfort without running, to say, this is here, this is real, this is mine to meet for now. You do not have to love every part of your life. You only have to stop abandoning it. You only have to stop abandoning yourself. Acceptance is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice, a moment-to-moment return. When the mind says, "This should not be," the soul says, "But it is." And in that gap, peace is born. You have spent years trying to control what cannot be controlled: the past, the future, the hearts of others. But acceptance is the release of control. It is the unclenching of the fist. You cannot rewrite history. You cannot guarantee tomorrow. You can only meet this moment as it is, and in meeting it, you are freed. Acceptance does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop punishing yourself for not being there yet. It means you honor the pace of your own unfolding. You are not a project. You are a presence. You are not a problem to solve. You are a mystery to witness. Let go of the war within. Lay down your arms. Breathe into what is. Acceptance is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of self-rejection. You can want more and still love where you are. You can long for change and still honor the now. The silent power of acceptance is that it transforms longing into patience. It turns striving into surrender. You do not have to force the flower to bloom. You only have to tend the soil. You cannot rush healing. You cannot compel clarity. You can only create the conditions for grace. Acceptance is the ground of all growth. When you accept yourself, you stop abandoning yourself. You stop betraying your needs. You stop apologizing for your wounds. You begin to treat yourself with the kindness you have always deserved. Acceptance is the mother of compassion. When you accept your own pain, you become gentle with the pain of others. You stop judging. You start understanding. The world is hard enough. Do not make your mind another battlefield. Let your thoughts come and go. Let your feelings rise and fall. You are the sky, not the storm. Acceptance is the art of allowing joy, allowing sorrow, allowing uncertainty. You do not have to fix every feeling. You do not have to solve every problem. You only have to remain present. Presence is the greatest power, because in presence, you remember, you are not your pain, you are not your past, you are not your projections. You are the awareness that holds it all. Acceptance is the return to wholeness, not because you have no wounds, but because you no longer see yourself as broken. You are not a collection of flaws, you are a canvas of becoming. The silent power of acceptance is that it ends the war, and when the war ends, healing begins. You have spent years searching for peace, but peace was never found in perfection. It was found in permission. Permission to be here, permission to feel, permission to begin again. Acceptance is the key that opens every locked door. It is the answer to the ache of not enoughness. You are enough, even as you change. You are worthy, even as you wait. You are whole, even as you heal. Let go of the belief that you must earn your place. You belong because you are. Acceptance is not a destination. It is a way of walking. With each step, you choose to meet yourself as you are. With each breath, you allow life to be as it is. The silent power of acceptance is that it frees you from the tyranny of expectation. You stop measuring your life by what should be. You begin to honor what is, and in that honoring, you find peace. You do not have to know the way. You only have to trust the unfolding. Acceptance is trust. Trust that life is wiser than your plans. Trust that you are held even when you feel lost. You are not abandoned by life. You are being invited deeper, deeper into presence, deeper into patience, deeper into peace. Acceptance is not the end of effort. It is the end of self-violence. You can strive without struggle. You can grow without self-loathing. You can change without shame. Let your growth be gentle. Let your healing be slow. Let your life unfold in its own rhythm. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are here. And here is enough. Acceptance is the great equalizer. It softens the sharp edges of striving. It dissolves the ache of comparison. When you accept yourself, you stop needing to be better than anyone. You stop needing to prove your worth. You begin to rest in the truth of your being. The silent power of acceptance is that it quiets the mind. It soothes the heart. It opens the soul. You do not need to be fixed. You only need to be found. Found in this breath. found in this feeling, found in this moment. Acceptance is the gentle hand on your shoulder, reminding you, you are allowed to be here. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to hope. You are allowed to be human. Let go of the myth of constant happiness. Let go of the fantasy of flawlessness. Let go of the demand to always be more. You are worthy of love in your unfinishedness. You are worthy of belonging in your becoming. Acceptance is the soil in which all good things grow. Patience, compassion, joy, peace. The silent power of acceptance is that it makes space for life to surprise you. When you stop resisting what is, you open to what could be. You make room for grace, for unexpected beauty, for new beginnings. Acceptance is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a truer chapter. A chapter where you are not at war with yourself. A chapter where you are not waiting to be worthy. A chapter where you are finally, quietly, at home. Let this be that chapter. Let this be your return. Return to the self you abandoned in your striving. Return to the heart you silenced in your shame. Return to the peace that was always waiting beneath the noise. Acceptance is not about settling. It is about settling into your skin, settling into your truth, settling into your presence. You do not need to become anyone else. You only need to become more yourself. The silent power of acceptance is that it reveals the beauty that was always there, the beauty in your scars, the beauty in your softness, the beauty in your story. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. You are not here to impress. You are here to embody. Let your life be an act of acceptance. Let your days be a practice of presence. And when you forget, as you will, return. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the moment. Acceptance is not a destination. It is a direction. Walk that way again and again, and as you do, the war within will grow quiet. The ache of not enoughness will soften. The peace you have been seeking will arrive, not as a shout, but as a whisper. This is the silent power of acceptance. It does not need to be seen. It only needs to be lived. Live it now. Let your life be the proof, and let your peace be the legacy. There is a quiet valor in the ordinary, a bravery that goes unsung, a strength that does not shout. The world rewards the spectacular, but the soul is sanctified in the simple. You have been taught to chase the extraordinary, to hunger for heights, to measure your worth in moments that dazzle. But the truest life is lived in the gentle repetition of days, in the humble tasks, in the unnoticed kindness, in the silent keeping of promises to yourself. There is no applause for making your bed, no ovation for listening well, no headlines for loving steadily. But here, in these small fidelities, you become whole. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to be present, to show up for your life as it is, unadorned, uncelebrated, and yet entirely enough. You have been told that greatness is rare, that only the few can claim it. But greatness is not a moment. It is a manner of moving through the world. It is the way you greet the morning with gratitude, the way you return each evening to your own heart. Ordinary is not a lack. It is a fullness that does not need to be witnessed. It is the quiet miracle of breath, the sacred rhythm of waking and sleeping, the gentle arc of a life lived in alignment. There is a pressure to perform, to curate a life that sparkles for others, to seek meaning in being seen. But the soul does not crave spectacle. It craves sincerity. It longs for the peace that comes from being fully here, fully human, fully ordinary. There is no shame in simplicity, no failure in repetition. The garden grows not in thunder, but in the slow, silent work of roots. The river carves canyons not in a moment, but in the patient persistence of days. So too, your life is shaped by the ordinary, by the meals prepared and shared, by the walks taken at dusk, by the laughter that bubbles up for no reason, by the tears shed quietly in the dark. You were not born to be a monument. You were born to be alive, to taste the sweetness of a ripe peach, to feel the ache of missing someone you love, to know the comfort of a familiar song. The world will always tempt you with the extraordinary. It will parade its trophies and demand you keep pace. But the soul knows, the most beautiful lives are often the least broadcast. The deepest joys are not shouted from rooftops, but whispered in kitchens, shared in glances, held in hands. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to belong to yourself, to refuse the lie that you must be remarkable to matter, to find meaning in the mundane, to let your legacy be the love you gave in small ways, the peace you made with your own imperfection. Ordinary is not mediocrity. It is the majesty of the moment, unedited, unfiltered, unimpressed with itself. It is the willingness to be here, to be real, to be enough, even when no one is watching. You do not need to be the best. You only need to be true. You do not need to be celebrated. You only need to be present. You do not need to be extraordinary. You only need to be yourself. There is a liberation in letting go of the need to impress, a freedom in laying down the armor of achievement, a softness in surrendering to the ordinary. Here, you find yourself again, not as a brand, not as a project, but as a presence. The world will not remember every award, but it will remember the way you made people feel. It will remember the warmth of your listening, the steadiness of your care, the honesty of your laughter. You are not here to be a spectacle. You are here to be a sanctuary, a safe place for yourself, a gentle space for others. Ordinary is not the absence of ambition. It is the presence of acceptance. It is the quiet knowing that you are enough, even as you grow, even as you change, even as you rest. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to rest, to stop running from yourself, to sit quietly with your own heart, to listen to the silence that holds you, to let yourself be without explanation. You do not need to be loud to be alive. You do not need to be seen to be significant. You do not need to be extraordinary to be worthy of love. The world will try to convince you otherwise. But the soul knows the most ordinary moment is a miracle. The simplest act is sacred. It takes courage to believe that, to choose presence over performance, to choose contentment over comparison, to choose to be here exactly as you are. You do not need to escape your life to find meaning. You only need to enter it more fully, to notice the light on the wall, the softness in a friend's eyes, the way your breath rises and falls without your effort. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to trust the process, to let your life unfold in its own time, to let yourself be shaped by small things, to honor the seasons of waiting, to bless the days that feel unremarkable, to believe that meaning is made, not found. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are not late to your life. You are simply learning to see the sacred in the simple. The world will tell you to chase. The soul will invite you to stay with yourself, to stay with this moment, to stay with the ordinary beauty of being alive. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to become more yourself, to let your life be enough, even when it's quiet, even when it is slow, even when it is unseen. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to be here, to be now, to be enough. Let go of the myth of the extraordinary. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the need to be noticed. Return to the gentle rhythm of your days. Return to the peace that comes from accepting yourself. Return to the truth that you are worthy, even when you are ordinary. The world will not always understand. It may call you small. It may call you safe. It may call you unremarkable. But you will know there is nothing more remarkable than being real. There is nothing more courageous than loving your life as it is. The extraordinary is found in the ordinary, for those who have eyes to see. So open your eyes. See the miracle in the mundane. See the beauty in the broken. See the wonder in the daily return to yourself. You do not need to be a star. You only need to be a light, a steady, quiet glow in the darkness, a warmth that does not demand attention. The world needs more ordinary people, living with extraordinary presence, more quiet souls, carrying gentle strength, more humble hearts, rooted in enoughness. You do not need to stand out. You only need to stand true. You do not need to win. You only need to witness the miracle of your own existence. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to stay with the mess, to stay with the longing, to stay with the hope that does not fade. It is the courage to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep trying, to keep beginning again. There is no finish line for the soul. There is only the daily practice of presence, the quiet faith that your life matters, not because it is extraordinary, but because it is yours. You do not need to be remembered by many. You only need to remember yourself. To remember the child who found wonder in simple things. To remember the joy that did not need an audience. To remember that every moment is enough if you are present for it. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to return, again and again, to the heart of your own life, to the small rituals, to the daily bread, to the laughter that erupts unexpectedly, to the forgiveness that heals quietly. You do not need to make history. You only need to make meaning. To let your life be a testament to tenderness. To let your days be a song of gratitude. To let your presence be your legacy. There is a heroism in the humble, a power in persistence, a grace in the grit of daily living. You are not less because you are ordinary. You are more because you are real. Your ordinary life is enough. Your simple joys are sacred. Your quiet love is a revolution. Let the world chase the next spectacle. You chase the next breath, the next honest word, the next gentle act. This is not a lesser path. It is the path home, to yourself, to your life, to the peace that waits in the simple. The courage to be ordinary is the courage to be free. Free from the tyranny of constant striving. Free from the hunger for applause. Free from the need to be more than you are. You are not here to be extraordinary. You are here to be whole, to belong to yourself, to live your days with gentle attention, to offer your presence as a gift. Let that be enough. Let that be everything. The world will not always see your courage, but you will feel it in the way you return to yourself, in the way you honor your own rhythm, in the way you love your life, even when it is ordinary. This is the quiet revolution. This is the hidden heroism. This is the courage to be ordinary. And in the end, it is enough. It is more than enough. Let your ordinary life be your greatest act of bravery. Let your presence be your masterpiece. Let your days be poems written in the language of the simple. This is the gift. This is the answer. You are already enough, exactly as you are. In the ordinary, you are found. In the ordinary, you are free. In a world of noise, the rarest power is to hear your own voice. Authority is not thunder. It is not the loudest in the room. It is the quiet conviction that does not tremble or chase. Most people seek permission. They wait for a sign, a nod, a blessing. But the soul was not made to beg for approval. It was made to command. To command not others, but itself. To rise, not in arrogance, but in clarity. Inner authority is not a crown you wear. It is a root you grow. It anchors you in storms and steadies you in silence. It is the whisper that says, I know what is true for me. The world will offer you scripts. It will hand you masks. It will tell you how to move, what to want, who to be. But the one who builds inner authority learns to listen deeper. He listens not to the shrill of the crowd, but to the hush beneath. There is a wisdom in you, ancient as the earth, patient as the tide. It waits for you to stop performing. It waits for you to return. You do not find authority by fighting for it. You find it by ceasing to abandon yourself. Every time you betray your own knowing, you become smaller. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you erode your ground. But every time you honor your truth, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You become less movable, less desperate for applause. Inner authority is not forged in comfort. It is born in decision. The decision to trust your own experience, even when it is doubted. The decision to stand alone, even when it is easier to follow. Most people confuse authority with control, but control is brittle. It shatters under pressure. Authority is supple. It bends, but does not break. It is not about forcing life to obey you. It is about aligning with what is real and moving from there. You cannot build inner authority by copying others. You cannot inherit it from those who came before. You must earn it in the quiet hours when no one is watching. You must earn it in the choices that cost you comfort. The world will tempt you to outsource your power, to hand it to experts, to trends, to the loudest voice. But the one who is rooted within is not easily swayed. He listens to advice, but does not abandon his discernment. He welcomes feedback, but does not confuse it for truth. He knows that every voice, including his own, is partial, but his own is sacred, for it is the only one he must live with. Building inner authority is an act of remembering. Remembering that you are the only one who can walk your path. Remembering that you are the only one who must answer for your life. You cannot blame others for the choices you did not make. You cannot resent the world for the voice you refuse to use. Authority is not given, it is claimed. It is claimed in the small decisions, the boundaries you hold, the values you defend, the silence you honor. You will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. You will be called stubborn, selfish, strange. Let them. Your work is not to convince. Your work is to become. The one who is at home in himself is not threatened by difference. He does not need agreement to feel secure. He does not need validation to feel real. This is the paradox. The more you trust yourself, the less you need to prove. The more you listen within, the less you must shout without. Authority is quiet. It is the calm at the center of the storm. It is the steady hand that does not tremble when the world shakes. How do you build it? By keeping your word to yourself, by honoring your boundaries when it is easier to bend, by speaking your truth when silence would be safer, by sitting with your discomfort until it becomes your teacher, by refusing to betray your soul for the comfort of the crowd. Inner authority is not a destination, it is a daily practice. It is the discipline of returning again and again to what is real. You will falter, you will forget. That is human. But each time you return to yourself, you grow stronger. Each time you choose clarity over comfort, you become more whole. There is a loneliness in authority, for few will understand. But there is also a peace, for you are no longer split. You are no longer at war with yourself. You do not need to be right. You need to be real. You do not need to be certain. You need to be honest. The world will always offer you a script, but your authority grows in the spaces where you improvise, where you say, "This is my life. This is my voice. This is my way." To build inner authority is to become your own compass, to measure your direction by your own true north. You will lose your way. You will doubt your map, but the compass is always there, waiting for your return. Authority is not about never wavering. It is about returning to center when you do. The more you practice, the clearer your signal becomes. The less you need to seek, the more you begin to see. Authority is not loud. It is luminous. It shines from within and lights the way for others. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth. You only need to embody it. Let your presence be your proof. Let your choices be your testament. You will be tempted to abandon yourself for acceptance, but every time you do, you pay with your peace. The cost is too high. The return is too small. Hold your ground, even when your knees shake. Speak your truth, even when your voice quivers. You are not here to echo. You are here to originate. The world needs your difference, not your disguise. It needs your clarity, not your compliance. Authority is not force, it is flow. It is the river that carves stone, not by violence, but by devotion. You build it by showing up, day after day, for your own life. By refusing to abandon yourself, even when it is easier to disappear. There is a dignity in the one who stands alone, not in pride, but in presence. He does not need to be seen to be sure. He does not need to be followed to be fulfilled. Inner authority is a quiet revolution. It is the end of seeking and the beginning of seeing. Seeing what is real for you, even if it is invisible to others. Seeing what is possible for you, even if it is impossible for them. You do not need to rebel to be free. You only need to return. Return to your root. Return to your reason. You are not here to fit the mold. You are here to melt it. The world will always ask you to explain yourself. Let your life be your explanation. Let your alignment be your answer. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to be faithful to your own unfolding. The path will reveal itself as you walk. The clarity will come in the living. Authority is built in the doing, not in the doubting. Trust your process. Trust your pace. You are not late. You are not lost. You are learning to listen, and that is enough. The one who trusts himself becomes trustworthy. The one who honors his own word becomes honorable. You do not need to be perfect to be powerful. You only need to be present. Let your authority be quiet, but unshakable. Let it be gentle, but immovable. You do not need to dominate to lead. You only need to embody what is true. Others will sense your certainty, even if they cannot name it. They will feel your presence, even if they do not understand it. The world is hungry for those who are rooted, hungry for those who are whole. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot lead where you have not gone. So go first. Lead yourself. Become the authority you have been seeking. Let your life be your legacy. Let your return to yourself be your revolution. You are not here to be a copy. You are here to become a cause, the cause of your own becoming. This is the work. This is the way. Build your inner authority, and the world will follow. Not in applause, but in awe. Not in imitation, but in inspiration. You do not need to be loud. You only need to be luminous. Let your light be quiet, but unquenchable. Let your presence be the answer to every question. Who are you? I am the one who returned. I am the one who listened. I am the one who became. This is your authority. This is your becoming. This is your peace. You are enough. You are home. The imagined future is a silent architect of anxiety. It builds its castles in the mind, stone by stone, hope by hope. You walk through its halls in dreams, believing they are real. It promises arrival, a day when you will finally be enough. But the future, imagined, is a mirage. It shimmers just ahead, always out of reach. You chase it, thinking the next step, the next success, the next love will deliver you. But every arrival reveals another horizon. The present is abandoned for the possibility of what might be. And so you live in rehearsal, never in performance. You practice happiness for a time that never comes. You defer peace until the world aligns with your script. But the world is not your script. It is a wild, living thing. It refuses to be contained by your predictions. It unfolds in its own rhythm, indifferent to your plans. Letting go of the imagined future is not the death of hope. It is the birth of presence. It is the willingness to meet life as it is, not as you wish it to be. It is the courage to let the unknown be unknown. Most suffering is born in the gap between expectation and reality. You ache for what could be, and in that ache, you miss what is. You become a ghost in your own life, haunting moments that have not yet arrived. But the wise learn to stop haunting. They learn to inhabit, to come home to the only time that is ever truly theirs, now. The imagined future is a thief. It steals the sweetness of this breath, this sunrise, this conversation. It trades the warmth of being for the cold comfort of control. You cannot control tomorrow. You can only choose how you meet today. The mind, addicted to certainty, will protest. It will insist that safety lies in planning, in preparing, in predicting. But safety is not found in the future. It is found in the willingness to trust yourself in the present. The imagined future is a story you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of not knowing. But all stories end, and when the story ends, you are left with what is real. Letting go is not giving up, it is giving in to the flow of life, to the river that moves whether or not you approve. You cannot dam the river, you can only learn to swim. The future is not your enemy, it is simply unknown, and the unknown is not emptiness. It is possibility, but possibility can only be met with open hands. You cannot receive what you are clutching to control. The imagined future is a projection, a canvas painted with the colors of your fears and desires. But real life is not painted, it is lived. You will not find peace in prediction. You will find it in participation. To let go is to return to the breath, the body, the moment. The future is not a problem to solve, it is a mystery to meet. You do not need to know what comes next. You only need to meet what is here. The imagined future is seductive. It promises relief from the ache of uncertainty. But the only relief is in surrender. Surrender is not passivity. It is the most active form of trust. It is the willingness to be shaped by life, not just to shape it. You cannot force the flower to bloom. You can only tend the soil and wait. Letting go is not the absence of desire. It is the presence of acceptance. You can want more and still love where you are. You can hold a vision and still hold space for what is. The imagined future is a comfort for the mind, but the soul does not live in the future. It lives in the pulse of now. Every time you return to the present, you reclaim your power. You become less a victim of circumstance and more a partner in creation. The future will come with or without your worry, but worry will not make you ready. Presence will. Letting go is a practice, a daily, hourly, moment-to-moment return. The mind will wander. Let it wander, then gently bring it home. Home is not a place, it is a presence. You are home when you are here. The imagined future is a mask. It hides the rawness of being alive. But aliveness is not found in certainty. It is found in the willingness to feel the ache of longing, to feel the sting of disappointment, to feel the wonder of surprise. Letting go means feeling it all, not numbing, not bypassing, not outrunning, but meeting each moment as it arises. The imagined future is a habit of reaching beyond yourself. But what if you reached within? What if you trusted that you are enough for whatever comes? Letting go is not a single act. It is 1,000 tiny choices. To breathe instead of brace, to listen instead of plan, to trust instead of control. You will be tempted to return to the old habit, to forecast, to predict, to script. Let the temptation come, then let it go. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that watches them come and go. The imagined future is a shadow. It cannot exist in the light of presence. So turn toward the light. Let it reveal what is real. You do not need to know. You only need to notice. Notice the breath. Notice the heartbeat. Notice the way life continues, even when you stop clinging. The imagined future is a teacher. It shows you where you are afraid. It shows you what you hope for. It shows you what you cannot control. Meet the lesson, then release the teacher. Letting go is not forgetting. It is remembering what matters. The future will unfold. Your work is to be here for its unfolding. The imagined future is a mirror. It reflects your deepest beliefs about yourself. If you believe you are not enough, it will promise a time when you will be. If you believe you are unlovable, it will promise a love that will redeem you. But the only redemption is in returning to the truth that you are enough now, that you are lovable now. Letting go is an act of love for the self that waits beneath the striving. The imagined future is a comfort for the ego, but the soul craves reality. Reality is not always comfortable, but it is always alive. You cannot live in a story. You can only live in the living. Letting go is a return to the living. The imagined future is a contract. It says, if I do this, then I will be happy. But happiness is not a transaction. It is a state of being. You do not need to earn it. You only need to allow it. Allow yourself to be here. Allow yourself to be unfinished. Allow yourself to be uncertain. The imagined future is a boundary. It keeps you from the wildness of what is. But wildness is where life happens. Letting go is stepping beyond the boundary. You do not need to know the path. You only need to take the next step. The imagined future is a map, but maps are drawn from memory, not from possibility. Let your life be an exploration. Let yourself be surprised. You are not here to repeat the past. You are here to create the new. Letting go is trusting the creative intelligence of life. It is believing that something wiser than your mind is at work. The imagined future is a ceiling. Letting go removes the ceiling. It opens you to what you could not have imagined. You cannot control the outcome. You can only choose your response. Letting go is choosing presence over prediction. The imagined future is a comfort for the frightened child within. But the adult in you knows how to stay with discomfort, to stay with uncertainty, to stay with the living. Letting go is growing up. It is the end of magical thinking, but it is also the beginning of magic. The magic of meeting life as it is. You do not need to be ready. You only need to be willing. Willing to be surprised, willing to be changed, willing to be here. The imagined future is a fence. Letting go is the gate. Step through. You will not lose yourself in the unknown. You will find yourself, because you are not the story. You are the storyteller. You are not the plan. You are the presence. Letting go is the highest act of faith. Faith not that things will go your way, but that you will find your way, whatever comes. The imagined future is a promise, but the present is a gift. Open it. You cannot live tomorrow today. You can only live today, fully, deeply, truly. Letting go is not a loss. It is a liberation. Liberation from the tyranny of what if. Liberation from the prison of someday. Letting go is a return to the ground beneath your feet. Feel the ground. Feel the breath. Feel the life that is here, waiting to be lived. The imagined future will call to you. Let it call, but do not answer. Answer the call of now, the only moment that is ever truly yours. Letting go is a discipline. It is the art of surrendering again and again. You will forget. You will return to old habits, but every return is a victory. Letting go is not about never holding. It is about knowing when to release. Release the need to know. Release the need to be certain. Release the need to be in control. You are not in control. You are in communion with life, with mystery, with the unfolding. Letting go is a prayer of trust. Trust that you are enough. Trust that life is enough. Trust that this moment is enough. The imagined future is a weight. Letting go is the lifting. You will feel lighter. You will feel freer, because you are no longer carrying what is not yours. Letting go is a kindness to yourself. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to know. You only have to be. Be here. Be now. The imagined future is a closed door. Letting go is opening the window. Let the fresh air in. Let the light in. Let yourself in. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Letting go is the art of beginning again. Begin again. The imagined future will always whisper. Let it whisper, but listen to the voice beneath. The voice that says, this is enough. Letting go is a return to enough. Enough breath, enough beauty, enough being. You are enough. Now, letting go is the end of striving. It is the beginning of arrival. Arrive here. This is your life, not the one you imagined, the one you are living. Let it be enough. Let it be everything. Letting go is the final freedom. It is the freedom to be as you are, where you are, now. This is the invitation. Let go and live. Letting go of the imagined future is not the end of dreaming. It is the beginning of living. Live now, live here, live true. There is a hunger in the human heart to be seen. It whispers in the quiet, pulses in the crowd. It asks, do you notice me? Do you recognize my worth? From childhood, the longing is planted, a seed watered by praise, by applause, by the gaze of those we love and those we fear. We learn to measure our days by visibility. Did they see my effort? Did they witness my pain? But the gaze of the world is a fickle sun. It shifts with the season, blinds, and then abandons. To live for being seen is to live in shadow. For every spotlight fades, leaving you in the dark with yourself. Freedom begins when you stop needing the light of others to see your own face. It begins when you turn inward, when you ask, who am I if no one is watching? Who am I when the room is empty and the applause has died? The need to be seen is not wrong. It is human. It is the echo of ancient longing, the ache for belonging. But when it becomes your master, you become a stranger to your own soul. You perform instead of embody. You reach for validation instead of truth. And the more you are seen, the less you may see yourself. For the eyes of others are mirrors that distort. They reflect not your essence, but their expectation. You become an image, a brand, a role. The self is traded for a story, but you are not a story to be consumed. You are a presence to be lived. Freedom is the quiet refusal to be defined by another's gaze. It is the courage to disappear from the stage and reappear in your own life. How do you find this freedom? First, you must notice the ways you beg to be seen, the subtle performances, the silent bargains, the way you shape your words for approval, the way you edit your truth for applause. Ask yourself, what would I choose if no one could see me? What would I love if it was never praised? What would I create if it was never shared? The answers may frighten you. They may liberate you. For in the absence of the audience, the authentic self emerges. It is quieter, but it is true. To be free from the need to be seen is not to become invisible. It is to become indivisible, no longer split by the hunger for recognition. You do not vanish, you return. Return to the ground of your own being. Return to the rhythm of your own breath. Return to the work that matters, even when unseen. The world teaches you to chase the spotlight, but the soul grows strongest in the shade. Roots deepen where eyes do not wander. Mastery is born in the hours no one counts. Let your life be shaped by devotion, not display. Let your work be an altar, not an advertisement. Let your choices be prayers, not performances. There is a peace that comes when you are no longer waiting to be noticed, a quiet joy in doing what is right, even when it is not recognized. You become your own witness. You become your own companion. This is not loneliness. This is liberation. For the one who needs no audience cannot be manipulated by applause. He is free to walk his path, whether or not it is paved with praise. She is free to rest, to rise, to risk, not for reward, but for realness. Consider the flower that blooms in the forest. It does not demand to be seen. It opens because it is in its nature to open. It does not withhold its fragrance until the world arrives. It simply is. So too, you are called to blossom, not for the gaze of others, but for the fulfillment of your own becoming. To be free from the need to be seen is to trust the worth of what is hidden. The roots, the seeds, the silent growth beneath the surface. What is sacred is often secret. What is holy is often hidden. The deepest truths are not shouted, they are whispered to the willing. Pause now. Breathe. Feel the urge to be noticed rise and fall. Let it pass without acting. Notice the space that opens in its absence. Here, you are free. Free to be ordinary. Free to be extraordinary. Free to be both and neither. You do not have to announce every transformation. You do not have to prove every healing. Let your life be your quiet answer. Let your presence be your proof. The world will offer you 1,000 ways to be seen. It will tempt you with platforms, with followers, with fame. But every platform is a pedestal, and pedestals are prisons. You must climb down to touch the earth. To kneel in the dirt is to remember your humanity. To lose the spotlight is to find the sunrise. There is a humility in being unseen, a gentleness that softens the edges of striving. You learn to listen more than you speak. You learn to see more than you are seen. You become a student of the ordinary, a lover of the unnoticed. This is not the death of ambition. It is the rebirth of intention. You no longer work to be watched. You work to be whole. The need to be seen is a longing for connection. But true connection is not built in the glare of attention. It is built in the quiet meeting of eyes, in the gentle holding of hands, in the silent understanding that does not need to be named. You are seen not when you are visible, but when you are vulnerable. And vulnerability cannot be forced. It can only be allowed. Let yourself be seen by yourself first. Let your gaze be soft, your judgment gentle. See your own longing, your own fear, your own hope. Meet them with kindness. When you are at home in your own presence, you no longer beg for the presence of others. You walk into rooms not to be noticed, but to notice. You listen more deeply. You speak more truly. Your value is not in your visibility. Your value is in your veracity. You become trustworthy to yourself, and in this trust, you find a new kind of confidence. Not the bravado of performance, but the quiet certainty of presence. You do not need to be seen to be significant. You do not need to be praised to be powerful. You do not need to be remembered to have mattered. Let your life be a blessing, even if it is never broadcast. Let your days be a devotion, even if they are never documented. The river does not pause for applause. It moves because movement is its nature. So too, let yourself flow. Move toward what is real, even if no one is watching. Some will misunderstand your quietness. They will call it hiding or humility or fear. Let them. You are not here to explain your freedom. You are here to embody it. The one who is free from the need to be seen becomes a sanctuary. Others feel safe in your presence, for you have nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Your energy is not extraction, but offering. You give because you are full, not because you are empty. This is the secret of service. It is not performed for an audience. It is offered for its own sake. The greatest kindnesses are often anonymous. The greatest healings are often unspoken. You do not need to be seen to be a light. You only need to burn. Let your life be a quiet fire. Let your love be a silent revolution. There is a dignity in the invisible, a grace in the uncelebrated. You do not need to be the main character. You only need to be real. The world is full of noise, but the soul speaks in silence. Make peace with being unseen. Make peace with being misunderstood. Make peace with being enough, even when unnoticed. This is the freedom you have been seeking. It is not found in the eyes of others. It is found in the heart that knows itself. Let your days be lived, not displayed. Let your joys be tasted, not tallied. Let your sorrows be felt, not filtered. And when you are tempted to perform, pause. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the truth that you are already enough, even when no one is looking. Especially then, for the truest freedom is not in being seen, it is in seeing yourself and finding that you are whole. Let this be your liberation. Let this be your return. You are free. You are home. You are here. And that is enough. Let the world watch, or let it turn away. Let the applause rise, or let the silence deepen. You are not diminished. You are not erased. You are not waiting for permission to exist. You are already real, already radiant, already worthy. The need to be seen was only ever a doorway, a threshold to your own presence. Now you have crossed it. Now you are free. Walk quietly. Walk truly. Walk unseen. And know, the eyes that matter have always been within, and the light you seek was never outside you. It was always here, in the silent center of your being. This is freedom, and it is yours. The world whirls. It is a carousel of color and clamor, a spinning stage of demands and distractions, and you somewhere in the center feel the tug to keep moving, keep proving, keep pace. But what if you stopped? What if you became the still point? There is a silence at the heart of all movement, a center that does not sway, even as the edges blur. To become the still point is to remember, you are not the storm. You are not the swirl of circumstance, the rush of reaction. You are the witness, the one who breathes beneath the noise. The world will pull at you, each voice a hand, each expectation a thread spun tighter around your chest. You will feel the pressure to perform, to produce, to keep up. But the soul does not keep time with the world. It waits, it watches, it whispers, slow down. There is a power in stillness the world cannot touch, a peace that is not earned, but uncovered. To become the still point is to let the world spin, and to choose not to spin with it. You do not have to answer every call. You do not have to solve every problem. You do not have to be everywhere at once. You are allowed to be here, just here. The mind will resist. It will insist that stillness is laziness, that to pause is to fall behind. But the deepest wisdom is found in the pause, in the space between thoughts, between breaths, between the old self and the one becoming. Sit quietly. Feel the world rush past you. Notice the urge to chase, to fix, to flee. Let it rise. Let it pass. Beneath it all, a silence remains. This silence is not emptiness. It is potential. It is the ground from which all true movement begins. The still point is not an escape from life. It is an entry, a doorway into deeper seeing. When you become the still point, you see clearly. You see the stories you have been spinning, the fears you have been feeding, the ways you have been pulled from your center. Here, in the quiet, you can ask, what is mine to hold? What is mine to release? You do not have to carry every burden. You do not have to answer every cry. You are not the world's savior. You are your own sanctuary. To become the still point is to become a safe place for yourself and for others who are tired of spinning. The world will not slow down for you, but you can slow down for yourself. You can become the axis around which your life turns, not in rigidity, but in rootedness. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness within movement. The eye of the hurricane is not empty, it is calm. And in that calm, you remember who you are. You are not your urgency. You are not your obligations. You are not the sum of your unfinished tasks. You are the one who notices the rush and chooses presence. To become the still point is to become your own witness. To watch your thoughts swirl and not be swept away. To let your emotions rise and fall like waves without losing yourself in their tide. This is not detachment. It is devotion. Devotion to the truth of your being. Devotion to the peace that waits beneath the surface. The world will try to convince you that you are missing out, that you are falling behind, that you must do more. But the soul knows nothing real can be rushed. Growth happens in the dark, in the quiet, in the slow. Healing happens in the pauses between striving. Becoming happens when you stop performing and start listening. The still point is not a place, it is a practice, a daily return to your own center, a gentle refusal to let the world decide your worth. You do not have to prove your value by your velocity. You are worthy even when you are still. Let your life be shaped by presence, not pressure. Let your days be measured by meaning, not momentum. In the stillness, you will hear what matters. You will notice the subtle joys, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the hush of your own breath, the way your heart softens when you stop running. You do not have to wait for the world to quiet. You can become the quiet in the world. The still point is not a withdrawal from living. It is a fuller entry into life itself. Here, you can feel everything. Here, you can choose your response, rather than react from habit or fear. Stillness is the birthplace of wisdom. It is the ground of true action. From stillness, your choices become clear. You move, not to escape, but to express. You act, not to prove, but to participate. The world will not reward your stillness, but your soul will. You will find yourself again, not as a performer, but as a presence. To become the still point is to become trustworthy, to yourself and to those who seek solace in your calm. You become the friend who can listen without fixing, the parent who can hold space without rushing to rescue, the leader who can pause before speaking, the lover who can rest in the moment rather than flee from discomfort or chase the next thrill. Stillness is not always comfortable. It will show you what you have avoided. It will reveal the ache beneath the activity. But only what is seen can be soothed. Only what is faced can be freed. You do not become the still point by force. You become it by surrender. Surrender to the truth that you are enough, even when you are not producing, even when you are not applauded. You are enough simply by being. The world will keep spinning. Let it spin. You become the axis, become the root, become the quiet center that holds. When you are still, you can see the movement of others without being swept into their current. You can bless their journeys without abandoning your own. You can love without losing yourself. The still point is where boundaries are born, where you remember what is yours to carry and what can be laid down. You do not have to catch every ball tossed your way. You do not have to answer every demand. You can rest in the knowing that your presence is enough. Let the world whirl. Let the noise rise. You, listen for the silence beneath. You will not find stillness in the world, but you can find it within. And from that place, you can move with intention, no longer reactive, but responsive, no longer frantic, but focused. The still point is the source of all true power. It is the well from which courage is drawn. When the world is spinning, you can choose to pause. You can choose to breathe. You can choose to return to your center, again and again, until stillness becomes your home. Let this be your practice, to sit in silence for a moment each day, to notice the urge to rush and to gently refuse it, to become the one who is not moved by the tides of opinion, but who moves from the depth of their own knowing. The world will call you strange. It will call you slow. It will not understand your refusal to spin. But you will know a peace that cannot be shaken. You will know a freedom that does not depend on circumstance. You will know yourself, not as a role or a reaction, but as a presence, steady and sure. This is the gift of becoming the still point. You become a lighthouse in the storm, a place of refuge for yourself and for others who are weary of spinning. You do not have to fix the world. You only have to return to your own center. And in that return, you change the world. Quietly, one breath at a time. Let the world whirl. Let the noise rise. Let the demands multiply. You become the still point. And from that stillness, let your life flow. Let your actions arise from clarity, not compulsion. Let your words be measured, not hurried. Let your love be deep, not desperate. You are not here to keep up. You are here to come home, to the quiet center that has always waited for you. Becoming the still point is not a one-time act. It is 1,000 small returns. Each time you pause before reacting. Each time you breathe before speaking. Each time you choose presence over performance. You are weaving a new way of being, a way rooted in peace, not pressure, a way that honors your own rhythm. The world will keep spinning, but you will remain steady, rooted, whole. And when the noise fades, when the dust settles, you will find yourself at the center of your own life, no longer lost in the rush, no longer pulled by the tides, but anchored in the truth of your own being. This is the gift of becoming the still point. You become the peace you have been seeking. You become the calm in the chaos. You become the presence that transforms every moment. Let the world whirl. Let the noise rise. You become the still point. And let your life unfold from there. Let your days begin in quiet. Let your choices arise from center. Let your heart remain open, even as the world spins. You are not here to keep up. You are here to become. And in your becoming, you find the peace that cannot be shaken. You become the still point in a spinning world. And in that stillness, you become free. You become whole. You become home.